Come with me to explore Botswana, an absolute paradise for wildlife enthusiasts and home to the largest elephant population in the world. We'll visit the country's infamous Okavango Delta via air, water, and land, and we'll get to see a pride of lions actively hunting an African buffalo. But first, let me introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Eden, and this is my dog Melvin. I'm a travel blogger, YouTuber, and 9-to-5er, because as much as I wish it did, travel does not pay my bills. That being said, I do have a government job with lots of vacation, and I've used every last minute to visit over 30 countries so far. I post videos once a week about my travels around the world and also share a bit about life at home here in Joshua Tree, California. If you're interested in following along, please subscribe to my channel. Now, let's get back to Botswana. For those of you not yet familiar, you will find the country of Botswana in southern Africa, just north of the country of South Africa. Now, if you like what you see in this Botswana travel guide, I recommend flying into Mon, Botswana, which will put you in close proximity to the things to do in Botswana shared in this video. I've added some pins here so you can see the specific locations that we'll be visiting, including the Okavango Delta, Chobe National Park, and Elephant Sands. I just landed in Mon, Botswana, and just got checked into my hotel. I'm staying at the Mon Lodge. I'm here on a group trip with someone who I've traveled with a couple of different times on her group trips, and I think about 12 to 14 other girls. So it's a guided trip. I didn't have to plan anything, but I love doing trips like this every once in a while as a solo traveler. It's fun to meet other people, and it's kind of cool to have someone else plan a trip for you. We're here for, I think, 3 days. We're doing all different sorts of stuff. I'll take you guys along with me. It's really hot here, so hair's up in a ponytail. I've got the AC on. Yeah, but I'm really excited to be here. I've been wanting to visit Botswana for a long time. So this should be a cool trip. My first stop in Botswana was to the Okavango Delta, where I joined up with a Mokoro day tour. On this tour, you'll be paired up in twos and assigned to one of the Mokoro boats and a polar who will steer your boat through the waterways in the delta. I found it really peaceful floating through the delta in the Mokoro boats. You'll come across lots of wildlife as you're floating along as well. After an hour or so, you'll leave the boats behind and go on a walking safari to see elephants and giraffes. If you're wondering, we were told there were no lions in this area, but honestly, I have no idea. Either way, this was a really good time, and I would totally do it again. And on our way back, we came across this group of elephants that were right up on the edge of the water, and we got to get really close. It was awesome. For our next adventure, we got to fly over the Okavango Delta via a doors-off helicopter ride. This was honestly so epic. I was nervous at first, but then absolutely loved it. The pilot will point out wildlife down below as you're flying around. We saw giraffes, elephants, a hyena, and lots of other animals that I can't remember right now. The Okavango Delta is actually an UNESCO World Heritage Site, and this was such a unique way to see it. A flight like this is 30 minutes and will cost about $350 US. I know that's a bit on the pricey side, but this was definitely a worthwhile experience. The next day, we made our way out to Elephant Sands Lodge to see the lodge's famous elephant watering hole. And on the way there, we got to see all kinds of wildlife as well, including these ostriches and plenty of elephants. So today is day 3 here in Botswana. We spent last night here at Elephant Sands, which is a man-made watering hole for the local elephants. They built a sort of like a lodge and then different cabins spaced out around the watering hole. They're far back from the watering hole, but it's kind of a circular pattern. You have to book these well in advance. You don't just want to show up here. They will likely not have any rooms available.
You can do lodge and stay in one of the cabins, or they have tent camping here as well. And they have a restaurant on site. The cabins, I'll show you guys a tour of my cabin, but they do have restrooms and showers in each individual cabin. Today we just had breakfast, and then we're about to head to Chobe National Park, and we're doing a river cruise.
Here's some footage of the watering hole when we first arrived. The later it got, the more elephants showed up. It was cool to be able to see them so close. The only downside was that the elephants kind of smell bad. They use the bathroom wherever they're standing, obviously, so the odor got rather intense in the evening. But other than the bad odor, this was honestly a really awesome experience. After leaving Elephant Sands, we made our way north to Chobe National Park. Our first stop was Chobe Safari Lodge, which was pretty awesome. It was a really nice place to stay, and they had a really, really, really good dinner buffet. So if you are able to, I highly recommend you stay here when you're exploring Chobe National Park. As soon as we got checked in, we were booked for a cruise on the Chobe River. I honestly wasn't really sure what to expect from this, but it was really awesome. It was very peaceful to be just kind of floating down the river, but also there were so many wildlife sightings. I honestly couldn't even believe it. I didn't realize that this was going to be so cool. But yeah, we saw all kinds of wildlife. We saw alligators. I think those are alligators or crocodiles, one of the two, and elephants. And I can't even believe how close we were able to get to this beautiful elephant. And then we saw all these other elephants crossing the river. Whatever this guy is, I have no idea. But yeah, this was honestly just really awesome. And then we saw all these hippos, and I got to see one crawling out of the water, which was pretty funny because they're not very elegant when they move around. But yeah, this was just such an awesome experience. I would totally do this. They serve drinks on the boat too, so you can have like wine as you're cruising along. And on the way back, we had this epic sunset right before we hit the dock. So they pulled over a little bit so we could check that out. For our final stop, we got up very early the next morning to head into Chobe National Park to do a safari, and this was so cool, you guys. We got to see 5 lions hunting a herd of African buffalo. So that's what you're seeing right here with this guy kind of crouching down. There's 5 lions. They're all lined up but spaced out, and they're all facing the buffalo that are over to the left. And they were waiting for one of the buffalo to isolate themselves like this one did. And you can see the lion in the back kind of crouching up towards him. To give away the ending here, the buffalo gets away, which thankfully I'm really glad that happened, because I did not want to watch that. I know it's nature, but still don't want to see it. But yeah, that was really cool. We also got to see lots of giraffes, which is my personal favorite animal. So yeah, definitely do not miss a safari in Chobe. Before I end this Botswana travel guide video, I just wanted to say a couple more things. Number one, if you're on the fence about whether or not to include Botswana in your travel plans or in an upcoming travel itinerary, I say do it. It's such a unique country, and the people are so kind, and there's just so much to do in such a small area. This is honestly one of the coolest trips that I've ever taken. And second, Botswana is one of those countries that you visit that just makes you want more. As soon as I got home from my trip to Botswana, I was immediately looking at visiting some of the nearby countries. Now, on this particular trip, after Botswana, I also went to Zambia and Zimbabwe. So I definitely want to return to those countries as well, but I immediately was so inspired to want to see more of Africa, and especially more of Southern Africa. So just be prepared to have a really good time. Go with an open mind, and I think you're going to love it. the last thing I wanted to say is just thank you so much for being here and for watching my videos. I've been making YouTube videos for about 3 years now total. I started out pretty slow and then started posting a bit more regularly over the last year or so. It's a lot of work to put these videos together. I'm still learning how to edit, still learning how to make it sound good and put my thumbnails together, but it's such a fun journey to be on, learning a new skill and getting to share all my travels with you guys. So thanks for being here. If you've watched this far, I really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.